Hi, I'm Jim McCann, founder of 1-800-Flowers. We created this podcast to share the wonderful people we get to interact with, we get to meet, we get to know, and most importantly, get to learn from. So I invite you to join us on this journey here on the Celebrations Chatter podcast. We're having fun here today at 1-800-Flowers. We have three terrific guests who have had amazing, interesting, and diverse careers. You'll see how fun they are, how smart they are, and how good they are to be around. And let me introduce you to Robert Funaro and Jason Cerbone,
Yep.
and Dan Grimaldi.
Thank you.
Three terrific guys, three local guys.
Thank you.
Local for me here in the New York area. We got Brooklyn represented a couple of times here, Staten Island, and even that far away, way upstate borough, the sixth borough of New York City, Westchester County.
That's right. In the house.
And went to school. All your schooling was in Westchester.
Yes.
High school was Sacred Heart, and then college right there in Bronxville. Huh?
That's right. Yeah. I grew up, spent most of my childhood in Yonkers. My parents were from the Bronx. I was born in the Bronx, and they moved up the line to Yonkers, which was like, the big move up. Exactly. It's like, pretty soon we'll all be in Alaska. We just keep. But so I spent most of my childhood in Yonkers, and yeah, now I'm still in Westchester, but a little further up the line now.
Keep moving up.
That's it.
Maybe when you get really rich, you go to Rockland County.
Yeah. Another bridge.
Why do I keep going south? I don't understand.
Or at least east.
Yes.
So started in Brooklyn.
We started in Brooklyn, yes.
And now...
and then Dad had bought a place in Staten Island, during the 70s. And then when the bridge was open, a little after the bridge was open. And
64 was the bridge.
Yes.
25 cents.
Was it 25 cents?
Yep.
Get
25 cents. And they said that once it was paid for, we wouldn't have a toll.
Are you trying to say that politicians will deceive us from time to time?
It's probably
20 cents.
25 cents.
And 20 cents for a bus ride.
And they didn't have the arm.
And the Staten Island Ferry was free.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could fake the
free.
throw.
It
You
still
fake,
is.
you
Yeah,
fake
there's
the
a
throw.
clause in
Yeah.
the city policy that because there's no, there has to be one form of transportation that is free to each borough. So, in terms of like to travel.
Not if you live in
Brooklyn
Rockaway.
Bridge. Oh, no, that's right now. Brooklyn Bridge, you can get over to Brooklyn Bridge
Yeah.
without paying. So that's the one thing that.
So inter-county, they can get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got
can
you.
always get you.
And they get you with the speed cameras now, so we don't have to worry about that
everywhere.
anymore.
So I went from Brooklyn, brought up in Dyker Heights, born and bred. And then I moved to, Staten Island for a brief period of time, about 3 years. And then I lived in Jersey for about 16 years.
Where were you in Jersey?
I was in Old Bridge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All of my friends from Brooklyn moved down there.
Yep.
I wasn't a big, I was like a little bit away from them. They were in Brick and Monmouth County.
Yep.
So then I moved back to Brooklyn. Most people, I'm always going against the tide. Most people moving out.
And how long ago did you move back?
4 years ago.
And Dyker Heights again.
Dyker Heights again, a block from where I was born, because I always knew I'd die within one block of my
You don't have any plans,
birthplace. My birthplace. But it's, what people ask me I said it's nostalgic. I ride around my neighborhood,
Yep.
which I grew up in, and every block has memories. Some of them good, some of them not so good.
But tell everybody what goes on. This is the holiday season. Tell everybody what goes on in Dyker Heights, Brooklyn, a very
Okay.
urban area.
Right, yes.
What goes on this time of the year?
Dyker Heights lights, Christmas lights, we put them on throughout the country and really throughout the world. But Dyker Heights has a concentration of lights that is unbelievable. Every block is lit up. Originally there were two houses. I think it was 84th Street between 11th and 10th. There were two houses. One house was completely covered with lights.
Yep.
And they had a table set with Santa and elves and Santa would be out giving candy canes and stuff. And across the street, they had a display of 20-foot characters, about 10 of them.
Yeah.
And they were the main things. And then on 12th Avenue, I guess it was, there were huge houses. I'm going back to the 50s, the 60s, the 70s.
These are not just corner houses, or are they?
No, not just. But now every house is lit up.
Yeah.
The whole neighborhood is lit up. Buses come in. I had a sister-in-law who moved to Pennsylvania and lived one block away from the main block, and she took a bus in and had lunch and took a bus to see her old neighborhood. So there are buses, there are ice cream trucks, there are food trucks, there are souvenir trucks, and as soon as it gets dark, the whole neighborhood people crossing the street, teeming with people. The lights are all lit up. It's an astounding, really astounding.
Sounds like a fun
It's a real
family
It
trip.
is. It's
Yeah.
great.
real event.
It's a really family. People come from all over. It's unbelievable.
And
People,
now with the use of drones, now I saw some drone shots of the whole neighborhood. It's just amazing and illuminated, like
little
and
column of light.
from outer
every
space.
block.
God is watching.
And they
from
stop,
outer
and the car
space.
getting around is very difficult if you're driving.
Oh, yeah, I
because
bet.
the cars stop at almost every house on every block because
Yeah.
every house is lit up. So it gets
And,
a little
police,
hectic.
Police detail.
Oh yeah, all kinds of cops. There's a police station. They have like a station there because
You've never been in that police station for any reason, have you?
not that one.
We don't talk business. No, we're not
Big.
talking that
I
kind
only
of
go to the
business now,
big
Jim.
ones. I don't go to those
there.
those small
Satellites,
those
no.
temporary satellites. No, I go to 68th or 62nd precinct.
So you
I've been
guys-
in both those places many times.
You guys are successful at a whole bunch of things. Acting, of course, we'll talk a lot about that. And now entrepreneurs. Here you all developed fame. You've been all three of you actors for a long time, but really catapulted to fame starring in The Sopranos, where you guys became friends and hit it off and spent a lot of time together, 10 seasons together, or some part thereof. How did this entrepreneurial version come up? And by the way, Robert, what kind of coffee are you drinking now?
I have welcome to the family. Welcome to the family, Jim.
So you guys created
This is
a
more-
coffee and accessories company called
Omerta.
We didn't
Omerta.
create the company. The Riches and
Yep.
who are Rich Garsky and they basically, well, I think it was an Instagram. Rich had asked me to see if I'd be interested in promoting the coffee.
Yep.
And of course, I gave it to Andrew Jidlocker,
Yep.
my business manager, and he said, "Well, it's a really good idea. Let me follow up on it."
Yep.
And I said, "Well, why don't you get Dan and Jason to come aboard? We can all, three's
some
a
fun.
charm,
Yep.
and a core of three is stronger, and that's how it happened."
But that's also how generous Bobby is. He's always looking out for other people.
So that's how it began. And
That's why you
now
guys
we're
have been
promoting
friends
it.
for so long.
Yeah, and Omerta, of course, means silence, and it also means friendship and respect.
And each blend of coffee has a different
Name.
reference name, which include
Correct. Yeah. So we have Woke Up This Morning, which is a medium roast. That
Which
one
comes
is
from the
right
theme
off
song.
from the theme song. Yeah. We have Take the Cannoli right here. If you want, Jim, if you want to smell that, you'll smell right through there.
Just squeeze
Yeah.
it on the air.
Oh,
we
yeah.
have
Yeah.
the
Hints of sweet cream, cannoli.
aromatic
Yeah, yeah.
filters. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. The three of us, once we did get involved, we went through, found the coffees that we like. We sampling coffees like crazy, just to try to come up with the names. It's been a lot of fun.
And
It really has.
Danny's all night long is an espresso. It's a medium roast, but it's hearty and it's got a little chocolate, little nut flavor. So each of the coffees has a difference, and the naming of them was very much what we did.
Yep.
To try to.
I can imagine those sessions. We have brainstorming names.
Yeah.
I have mine's an early retirement and has a caramel. They have a picture of me. We shot it in Long Island. Shh. It's supposed to be Fort Myers, but we're at Jones Beach and we were shooting. So we came up with that one, early retirement. It's really
Yeah.
good. One thing about the flavored coffees that we have, it's the bottom is like as an Arabica bean, which is stems from Ethiopia. I did some research before.
He's such a show off, isn't he?
Yeah.
Good, robust,
Studying.
nutty flavor to it. You know what I mean? But the thing is, all the flavored coffees, the cannoli, have that bottom really
The base
coffee
of- yeah,
taste,
yeah.
or coffee taste. So they're not overly flavored coffee. That's what's great about them. And I got to tell you, once you start having other coffees, the Keurigs, I'm not going to name names because I was told not to name any names.
But you just did.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
no, I mean a Keurig. Whatever.
machine,
The
maybe.
machine,
Yeah,
Keurig
okay,
machine,
yeah,
Keurig
yeah,
machine.
let's-
And do you sell your pods that they can go into a Keurig machine or
We
any
do-
of those other pod
We
machines?
don't have the pods yet, but so
Disposable
yeah, we're going to be
stuff. The disposable, you know. I mean, not a non-disposable. That's what I use.
Yep.
So,
right. Yeah. So basically, as of now, you can get like the mesh sort of disposable ones, but no non-disposable,
Non-disposable.
so that you can refill and put our coffees in there. But we are going to be doing the K cups.
And the great thing about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
coffee is it's not blended or created until it's ordered. When you make an order, then it's put together and it's shipped to you. So within 48 hours, it's that fresh.
Right. So it's very fresh. Like it's not like the other companies. Bobby, tell them the other companies that are not fresh coffee. Go ahead. Go ahead, tell them. No, go ahead. You were telling me before. Go ahead.
All I'm saying is the Dunkin' Keurig. Once you try our coffee, and I went to the where the coffee. I went to the coffee, and I say, you know what? Ours, I gotta have ours. I'm addicted. It's okay to be addicted to coffee because a lot of people, Americans, we are. There's the baristas.
It's nice to sell a product that's addicting.
Yeah. It doesn't have any harmful.
And not get arrested.
Yeah, I wouldn't call us dealers. We sell it. I mean, I don't.
You're a reseller.
Yeah.
We just did a deal with these crazy guys at Flowers, and now you can buy the Omerta line of products on the 1-800-Flowers website.
That's
We're having
fantastic.
some fun with that.
We are so happy and so proud to be part of your company and your corporation.
And by the way, our collections have sped up so instantly, just announcing our relationship with you. People are paying their bills much faster.
I hope so.
That's right.
Well, that's going to be the last.
Well, this will be the last face they'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, Danny, I was going to say it, but I will do.
My son, who's a huge fan of you guys and is here today, you'll say hello to him later.
Oh, nice.
They sent me a clip of each of you earlier this morning. I said, I didn't know that he knew you guys are coming in today. And he sent me his thoughts on your best of clips.
Right.
Oh,
One
nice.
is, you just used the line from that famous scene. Gloria is still trembling, right?
Yeah. She was spectacular. Annabella is a wonderful actress and a wonderful person and a fellow Brooklynite.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. She comes from
Annabella Sciorra.
Marine Park. I think.
And Jason, your
Yes.
scene that he sent me was the when you held up the card game.
Okay. Yeah.
Very smart. Very
boy.
smart.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Hey,
But,
Robert, Snapple has never tasted the same.
right.
What can I say? Do me a favor, don't hold this.
But that show had to be a life changer for you guys, right? You've been
yes.
actors, you were
Yes.
accomplished in your craft, and now something comes along right in your wheelhouse. And tell us your story, how it came about for you, and how it's changed your life, maybe.
Very briefly, because we have everyone here. I mean, my thing was I did a play with James Gandolfini, A Streetcar Named Desire.
Of course.
I played Stanley, he played Mitch, and we toured Europe, Scandinavia, Sweden, Finland, Norway.
Yep.
And that's how I first met him. And then we came back, and he went to California, make a long story short, or short story longer. He went to California. I still was dabbling
He
in
had a
acting.
role in a great movie called
Yeah.
Get Shorty.
And True Romance.
True
Romance.
True Romance.
God.
And James, I think he was really a New Yorker. So when he came back, he connected with me. And somehow a friend of mine went to a party. He was in a party, and it was the second season of Sopranos. He went up to him and said, hey, if I was you, I would get your friend Bobby Funaro a job on your show. My friend Gordon, and he said, "Where's Bobby doing? What's he doing?" Because we kind of were in touch with each other, but we didn't really, weren't like good friends.
And that's a tough thing about your world, is that you'll be real close to James for several months.
Yes.
Touring. I mean, you're like all the time with one another.
Yeah.
And then he goes to California. You're staying in New York. That must
it's
be
a
tough on
bond. It's
We're
relationships.
like
bond.
floating.
It's a bond.
We're like floating weeds.
Yeah.
That's the way we are. That's the best
You're
way
very
to describe
intimate
it.
for a short period of time.
Yep. Yeah.
But that bond never goes away, because
Yeah.
when you see each other again, that
back.
bond is there. That intimacy, because that acting is a very intimate profession.
Yeah.
You pick up where you
we
left
become
off.
very friendly, very close.
Yep.
And then everybody goes their separate ways, and then you might meet years later, and that bond is still there. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's like a high school reunion whenever I get to see everybody, and especially these guys. I see them more than most of the cast, but it was definitely a unique show when it came to that. I mean, and when I had worked on that, I worked as a child. I started out as a kid, and then kind of took
you
a
got
break for a while.
typecast as a kid.
As a kid, right? Yeah, as a little kid.
I sold magazine as a kid.
Oh, you didn't have it easy like him.
I didn't look like him.
Yeah. So yeah, I was fortunate. I worked in modeling. I did some TV work, some music videos, but I took a break.
All right, tell us
to,
one music
yeah,
video
yeah.
you were in. Come on.
Okay, so the most famous
I was
one
just
probably.
talking yesterday to Bob Pittman, who's a friend who created MTV, which
Okay.
gave you a reason to be in a music video.
Yeah, seriously. And that was back when MTV had music videos. Now it's totally different, right? Suzanne Vega's My Name is Luca. That's what, so I was Luca in that video. So that was a big that was a big thing. That was that was a hit. Yeah, and I did a Bon Jovi video as well when I was a kid. And then I worked with people like Andy Warhol
Were you
for
a good dancer?
I was not a good dancer, still not that great of a dancer. But we can move past that, Jim. But anyway, so these guys would tell me basically like, you have no idea how great this is being on this show.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like how special it is. I mean, I remember Danny telling me, and
I was like a father figure to him.
well, I don't know about that, but
You didn't say good father.
an uncle that a lot of the family didn't speak to. But nevertheless, we were close. I feel like
We were very
and yeah, so
and Bobby too.
yeah, absolutely. And so the bond that we had, I don't know. I don't know that it exists
We came in
so
together.
much. Yeah. It's been very special, and a big part of my life, like having these guys.
Felt very professional.
Oh yeah.
David Chasey, ultimate professional, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And kept the script secret from a lot of you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
My
But
my final episode had like 4 scripts, and I read mine. I ended this, but I didn't know the ending with James got shot.
Yeah.
In members only. So yeah, there were a lot of different
Yeah.
takes on it. You wouldn't be told kept a secret. And if you opened up loose lips,
Oof.
you might be a sunk ship.
Yeah.
Or if you question the boss,
Yeah. Well, I can't
you
do
die.
this.
You die.
How many different directors did they have over the course of
Oh
that show?
God.
I mean, every episode, yeah.
10
Every episode would change, and
10
there'd
or
be guys that
15.
repeated. So maybe
10 or 15.
Wow.
Yeah, you figure in the course of a season, 13 episodes,
Yeah.
a guy would repeat maybe twice. You know what I'm
Over the
saying?
course of the-
Right.
maybe
He had his
15
favorites too.
directors.
Yeah, Tim Van Patten. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
25th anniversary
Alan
of the
Taylor.
premiere of the show, January.
Unbelievable.
10
Amazing.
years since it's been on the air?
Yeah.
Oh, 15.
15? Oh, that's right, yeah.
2007.
Yep.
Yeah, wow.
16.
And the
And,
COVID crisis brought us even further into another
It
couple
jumped
of
everything
generations.
ahead.
Generation discovered you.
No,
The
Yes.
great thing about it is
Crazy.
we believe and we think it's true that it's the greatest TV show of all time, greatest written show.
I'm voting, I'm saying yes.
But it's the gift that never stops giving because we get new fans as people grow old enough
Yeah.
to watch it. They may have watched one episode when they were 7 or 8,
Yeah.
but as they grow older, they become big fans, and it just keeps going and going and going. And that's one of the great things about The Sopranos is
I just wish we could have had your twin brother here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
I don't see him as much. I don't.
And he never liked him either.
No. He was not like an uncle to me.
You
No,
Got into an
no.
accident. He
He
got
had
into
a
an
big
accident.
mouth. He had a big mouth.
Got into an accident. It was on the Bell
So
Parkway.
But without him, I wouldn't be here.
That's true.
That would never have existed.
Which is an amazing
without
story.
Philly.
That story.
What
David
is?
the Danny?
Yeah, well,
That's
I was
amazing.
hired as Philly Parisi for the first episode of the second season, and there's a lot of things that go into it that make it unbelievable what happened. Number one, I never asked Chase about this, but they had already been started shooting the second season, and they had just become a hit. They were a big hit after
Yep.
the first season. So when they started shooting the second season, I didn't audition for that until October, and they had started in August or so shooting. Shooting. And so that's the first thing. That he wrote this little part, I think. I never asked him about it. I should ask him about it. But as Philly summarizes the first season. So in other words, just in case you didn't watch,
Yes.
here's what happened.
Catch you up.
He went to a psychiatrist. He did this. So Philly says all these things.
Yep.
And he gets killed. Right? It looked like he was the first new character introduced in the second season. Looked like it was going to be a big part, and I was dead in 4 minutes. And I asked Alan Coulter, who was the director, I said, could you miss me? He said, Danny, sometimes the best things that could happen is you get killed in the show. I said, okay, all right, whatever you say. So what happened was they were in Italy shooting the Italy scenes, and they came back, and Chase, they watched the rushes, the raw footage, and he watched me, and he looked at me. This is what Terry Winter says, and so Chase said it also on the podcast. He looked at me and he said, who is this guy? I don't want to kill him. Why'd I kill him? And he said, you can use the twin card once. I'm going to use it on him. And it was just, I had to wait. I heard little rumblings that I was coming back. But I told my son, I was in Italy. I went to Italy on a vacation. I told my youngest son, I said, if they call, I don't care what time it is, you call me. I don't care where I am. Call me. So there was little inklings that I was going back, but I had to wait. And actually, in the second season, the last episode, Patsy is created.
Yep.
And I do my little Groucho Marx thing with the fur coat, and then he's on the beach, on the boardwalk,
Yep.
and so that was the beginning of it, and he lived on, and he was alive at the end. Patsy was, and that's all I prayed. I want to be alive at the end, and I was, and so that was a great thing.
We talk a lot here about relationships, emotions, mental health. We're a company that's all about relationships. We happen to sell gifts, which are how people invest and express their emotions and appreciation at all in relationships. You guys had to have obviously formed a great bond with Jim Gandolfini. You, of course, having worked with him and traveled with him.
Yeah.
What was that like for you as members of the cast, members of that community, when he passed?
Devastating, shocking. It was, I remember I was in rehearsal for a play, and I heard about it, and it dropped me to my knees. It was horrifying that he died so young.
Yep.
He was such a nice person. He was just a good, generous man, as well as a very, very great actor. I mean, he was a very talented actor, but more than that, he was a fabulous man. He really was.
And you hear that
great human.
universally.
It's a great human being. I mean, a giving human being. I never met a man that is so giving and with great humility, which was the best thing. And I mean, he would even question his own work. He once said, "How was I in that scene?" I said, "You asking me that question? It's the 4th season. You're fantastic." He said, "He wanted to know. He always questioned his work. He always wanted to be better."
But he wanted to know from people who knew.
Right, right. So I mean, my feeling with him is it was just devastating, like a family member that passed. So, but I mean, in terms of his humility and grace, with how he treated everyone, in terms of sharing the wealth, so to say, and it was great.
Yeah, he always looked out. He looked out for everyone. You always felt that, like you had like the father figure there, and he'd be there to protect you or make sure things were going okay. Say little things like, listen, if you ever want another take, just tell them. It doesn't matter. Tell them you want another take. This is your career. Don't like little things like that where he would just look out.
I've heard the term generous actor.
Oh,
yes,
very generous. Generous
By
person.
doing things like that.
Oh yeah, doing things like that. Absolutely.
You may be young and you may be new on the show, but this is your craft.
Oh, absolutely.
I had a scene with him on my last episode. He kept delaying. They kept scheduling the scene when I asked him to go to Florida, and he kept delaying it. And I think really he was delaying it because he wanted me to kind of get into the role and really get because it was going to be shot first on the episode. And we waited, and it was one of the last things that was shot. Yeah. And this is how generous he was. You know what I mean?
Well, he actually in the last 2 seasons, he got his manager to represent those of us who didn't have good representation, and he asked his manager to represent us, and his manager did and negotiated our contracts. I was a regular in the last 2 seasons.
And where are you shooting? You're on location. You're in the sound studio. Where?
Jersey.
Most of it in Jersey.
95% in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And in Silver Cup in Queens.
Yep.
All the interiors were in Silver Cup. And then, and one of the wonderful things is they replicated the house, which which is so unbelievable.
Yeah.
They replicated the house in Caldwell. They replicated the interior in
Silver Cup?
Silver Cup, and it was like everything was perfect.
Oh, it's amazing how
unbelievable.
We were just there because we had a Soprano event.
Yeah, we were at the house.
It's unbelievable. We walked into the kitchen, how it looks. It's the same.
Still the same.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
How many people show up for that?
Oh, there was a handful of people, 50, I think it was 50 guests that were
75 probably.
But
yeah,
there
they
were
kept. It was an
also
intimate,
vendors.
they kept it limited
because
to
the backyard and everything can't hold a lot of people, but it was sold out. I can tell you in a matter of hours.
Yeah.
And that was just a month ago.
Sold out.
Yeah, and we brought the Omerta coffee, and everyone there got to try the coffee out. Yeah,
Nobody slept that night.
Nobody slept. It was an all-nighter. It was an up all-nighter. Danny up all-nighter.
Danny up all night. That's one of our brands.
Danny, in addition to being such an accomplished actor and a good friend to so many people, you have another career.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about it.
It originated in those precincts in Signal. Oh, well, I'm a college professor, and I've been one for, I don't know, 40, 50 years probably, all told.
And you didn't do it the back into it kind of way. I mean,
no.
Obviously college, then you got your master's, then you got a PhD.
Correct. Yeah.
In data processing.
Right,
So
exactly.
mathematics and data processing.
I spent 7 years in the Bronx, four at Fordham, and then 3 at NYU at the Hall of Fame campus uptown, and then City University. I got my PhD, and I became an actor because it's a long story that I don't. But I was my whole life was slated towards computers and mathematics,
Yes.
because when Sputnik went up, if you had
Aptitude in
mathematics, you got money. So I got money to go to school. I didn't pay for schooling, and my path was set just by that.
So what accident causes you to? You had the bug.
Well, I went to work for Bell Labs, and one of the most prestigious places in the country at that time. We're talking 1969. And I was hired as a member of technical staff, and they had very high hopes for me. And
They must be so disappointed.
I think I was an academician, so I think 9 to 5 just didn't agree with me in a big way. So I sought something else, and
You didn't give up your day job.
no, I never did. I'm still teaching. I still teach at Kingsborough Community College.
In Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn.
Yeah, I woke up one day and I said I could be an actor. I have no idea why. There's nothing in my family. You know, when I was in grammar school, I was in a couple of plays. I was in the plays. I was always in the plays in grammar school, but not high school, not college. There was nothing in my life that led me to acting. I woke up one day and I could be an actor.
Now, in your family, Dyker Heights, Brooklyn, are you outgoing? Are you the clown? Are you the singer in the family gatherings as an 11-year-old?
I tend to think I'm shy, but guess I am outgoing. I think I'm outgoing.
Actors
I'm not.
generally
I'm not
shy?
a. Yeah, most of us are. I think.
Yeah?
There's a shyness to us.
yeah, I
but
think
then we
so.
overcompensate too. We
Well,
overcompensate
like
to be.
I mean, I think it's I'm
We're
the second son.
social.
You know what I mean? So we want a little bit more attention. You know what I mean? I think there's a little
Yeah, I'm a
bit of
second
that.
son too, so that's,
there
we
you
have
go.
the same
I
psychology.
think the same psychology.
And we have a typecast kid.
Right. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
We put our heart into everything we do. We are farmers, bakers, florists, and makers who grow and create with a passion. Made with love at every step of the way. Because at the end of the day, we know you're sending more than a gift. 1-800-Flowers, share with love.
So what was the first step down
I was
the
going to
path?
go study with Lee Strasberg, right?
Wow, we started at the
I didn't know
top.
who he was. I didn't know who he was, but I was going to go study with him because he was a famous acting teacher.
Yep.
And the first day I lived in Brooklyn, worked in New Jersey, and was going to Manhattan. So me, being as naive as I am, when I was at my job in Manhattan, in New Jersey at Bell
Labs.
I thought I could leave at 5 o'clock and park in Manhattan at 6 o'clock because I don't like to pay for parking. That's a big
you're a
big
New
thing.
Yorker.
Right. So I did get a parking space. He used to give lectures at Carnegie Hall.
Yep.
And I got a parking space on 57th and 6th. Carnegie Hall was 57th and 7th. I walked up, I got to the door of Carnegie Hall, and I stopped and I said, what is this? You know, you're afraid to fail as a computer scientist. You want to, what do you want to break to your friends? You go to acting school like that, like it's something different. And I said, you're right.
Did you tell your friends?
What? No, I didn't tell him no. And I said, you're right. I turned, don't forget, my friends we grew up on 13th Avenue in Brooklyn. And, my friends are great. I still have them. We just went out the other night. But anyway, so I turned around, I started walking down the block. Now, there was the Russian Tea Room and and a movie theater, which I can't remember the name of right at this minute. But the Russian Tea, I stopped and I said to myself, you've never made a decision in your life. You've always gone along the path of mathematics and computer
Safe,
science.
predictable.
You were sent down that path.
Yep.
You didn't make any decisions. This could be your destiny. I said to myself, I like yesterday, I remember.
Did you put your hand back on the door?
No, I said, you're right. I turned around, I went back. I went in, I listened to his lecture. The next night I went to a sensory class, and I was afraid. I was afraid. I was nervous. I didn't know anything. So I went in, and my teacher was Ed Covens. He was a big burly kind of guy, like a Brooklyn guy, and I just sat back and said, I'm home. This is where I belong. I watched 6 people on the stage look like they weren't aware of each other. They were doing sense exercises. I didn't know anything was what I was watching, but it looked like they weren't aware of each other, which is insanity. So I just leaned back and said, I'm home. And I really did say that. And I've met other people who have said that when they find their passion. They just know that they're home. And so I knew that this was my destiny. And my acting teacher, Coben, told me never to give up my day job. So I listened.
And it's worked out pretty well.
Yes, it has.
Now, Dan, you mentioned you got together with your old buddies the other night.
Yeah.
Is that something you do regularly?
Yeah, we see each other a lot. These are guys that I grew up with on 13th Avenue since we're 8 years old. We know each other. So we've been together almost 70 years.
And now you're back in the hood. Are many of them still?
No, none of them.
None.
Oh, one.
Yeah.
One, but that's where we went. We actually went to a place called Cerrico's in Dyker Heights, which is one of the few places that is still there from when we were kids. And we had a Christmas
Cerbone
dinner.
Garden's still there.
Yeah, but that's not in Dyker Heights. That's further away.
Is that Bay Ridge?
No,
that's
it's a little further down.
further down, Bensonhurst,
Coney
Lower
Island.
Bensonhurst,
Okay, yeah.
Lower Bensonhurst. Yeah.
And Jason, you grew up in a Tony neighborhood in Yonkers.
I grew up in Yonkers. My family was from the Bronx and moved up the line to Yonkers, and I'm still moving up the line. I'm further up now in West.
Childhood friends?
Most of my friends are from college, the close group that I have now. A few guys from high school, but the majority of them is from college. I went to in Bronxville, Concordia College.
They had a very good baseball team there.
They had a good. So a lot of my friends, I played baseball through high school, and then I kind of lost interest by college, but the majority of my buddies were on that Concordia baseball team, one of which was drafted out of there, and so for a small school, they actually,
Because you were doing all those music videos.
Yeah, I was busy doing music video. No, I was semi-retired from acting by college. That's when I kicked it off again.
So, Robert, tell us, you've got your entrepreneurial thing going on. Anything going on in the acting world now that you want to tell us about?
It's starting to pick up. Hopefully, after the strike, it's going to pick
Now,
up. And
the strike is over.
Yes.
But not signed yet?
It's not. It's going to be. They've said yes to the vote.
It's this time of year is quiet anyway.
Yeah.
It's a yes.
This is a
vote.
quiet
So
time.
when
until-
does production start to pick up?
Probably January.
after
a little bit.
end of January,
Yeah, but it
early
might be
February,
a little bit earlier because of
Pent-up
the
demand,
delay.
yeah.
So I got an independent film coming out called Critical Acclaim.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's about a filmmaker that gets a bad review and he kind of goes crazy. You know? That's about it. You know, but then
he wants to go to Fort Myers.
He finds God at the end. You know, he really just flies off the handle. But in the end, it's a spiritual film that he comes back to because he finds God and he finds a way of moving on. You know, so the film was about abortion, and it bombed. And of course, it was against the abortion that he created.
Yep.
But then I don't want to give the ending.
Yeah,
but
don't.
at the end, he finds out that he made a difference in someone's life.
Sounds
and that
like
was
a
the
big
thing.
mental health journey.
Yeah, sure. But it's a good thing.
I was very lucky. I did 2 films and 2 plays since the strike started. There were 2 waivers. They got waivers. One of them was called The Narrows, about Bay Ridge and Dyker Heights.
Yep.
And I played a fruit store owner who goes against the developer, and we have the mob come in. It's a comedy, and
Yep.
Vinny Pastore played the head of the
No
mob.
kidding, yeah.
So we had a lot of fun doing that. And then I did a film called Godless, where I played a cardinal of New York, and it is in a film about abortion.
Again, typecasting.
Yeah, I played the Cardinal of New York. I was so excited to be in the red robes. I was ecstatic. I had my little yarmulke, the red robe. It was so much fun. And
That
then I
should have
did.
been your Christmas card this year. Why didn't you take?
That would have been perfect.
I did it with Harry Lennox from the Blacklist.
Yep.
Yeah, we played it together, and then I did 2 plays. One was with Joy Behar. She wrote 5 short comedies called Bonkers in the Boroughs. It was about each of the boroughs,
Yep.
and it was Italian and Jewish
Yep.
characters. And in one play, I ate half a cheesecake in 10 minutes. And then I die. And then I have a heart attack. And the other play was called The Feminine Hours, and that was about in 1960s an old Italian American and a Puerto Rican family that moves next to him in right out here in Long Island.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the '60s when that was so that was those two. That should get a production in May or June.
Jason, what's going on career-wise for you?
Well, I mean, I've been on strike. These guys have been working like crazy. I don't know what's going on. I've been trying to promote the coffee in the meantime. I don't know, man.
Just got called for SVU. What is he talking about, man? Be on the next SVU, man.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
You've done several special victims.
Yes, yeah. I had a recurring on there for a little while. Worked on the show Power for a little while. Yeah, I mean, I've sort of bounced around New York. I spent most of my career in New York. I lived in LA for about 3 years. And then
Enjoy it out there?
I did, actually. It took some getting used to. It took probably a good year before I could get used to sort of the lifestyle. And then you start to like it so much that you realize maybe I got to get out of here. But the plan was always to come back to New York. I mean, that's where the family is. That's kind of where I wanted to raise my kids and do the whole thing. So, yeah.
When James came back from L.A. because he was in New York. He was
He's
a New York
stage guy, yeah.
He was in New York. Oh yeah, stage too. He was great on stage.
I liked
too.
LA. I liked LA when I was.
You
out
liked it,
there.
yeah?
I liked, yeah.
So you
live
came
out
back, but
I wanted to-
you wanted to stay out there.
Well, I wanted to move, but
Yeah.
that was a problematic
another-
family-wise. So,
Yeah.
so I came back. I had two kids, so it was
That's the thing.
it was either my 2 kids or California. So
That's
I
what stopped me
chose
from
my
going
kids.
out there. My children and everything like that. I just can't move. I can't. You know, us Italians, we like to keep it
family,
close.
isn't it?
It's family.
Isn't that
family.
pretty special?
Welcome to the
It
family.
really is,
Welcome
yeah,
to the
yeah.
family.
I'll tell you a story about my son who you'll say hello to later. He moved out California. He lived in the Midwest. And one day we're having a talk on a Sunday night. And he said, Dad, you know what I've realized? I said, what? He said, all that pain in the neck stuff I had to do when I was home. Go to family parties and holidays at this one's house and that one's house and a communion and a graduation. He goes, when they go away, you realize they weren't a pain in the neck. They were actually a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And he
so
said,
true.
I miss that stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm so
true.
glad to hear how he'd grown up and matured and how he knew what was important in life.
Well, that's a compliment to you too.
Well, if you live long enough, Dan.
I was actually listening on my way here to your podcast and listening. You have 3 kids and 7 grandkids.
Yep, you got it.
And you seem like a really good family guy, and I definitely connected with that. And
I had a great day
Yeah.
yesterday.
What's that?
My 15-year-old granddaughter was off from school, so I said, hey, would you like to come to work with me? She said, yes, I would. And so she spent the day here in the office, and ladies on the team here did a wonderful job of being nice to her, and she left, and I got this wonderful text last night when I got home, which was a little later than that, saying, what a great day I had. You work with the nicest people. I said, no, you wait till you get to know them.
There's a lotto ticket right there, baby.
We love everyone at 1-800-Flowers. I don't know what we just teamed up with them. We love them all. I just want to say that right now.
For the record.
Yes, that's right. No, but that's beautiful. That's great.
So what happens next with Omerta? New products?
Yeah, new product.
1-800 Flowers. We want that.
Yes.
I love the gift basket idea. I love putting things together. I think
Yeah.
people are going to
Exactly.
get really excited about this product now that they know about it and they know how to order it, how they can get to it. But I mean, it's just fun stuff. And you have such a community of people with an interest in you guys and the community you played.
One of the great things is we have e-cards, that
Yep.
you can get and send them directly. So I mean, it's just a great, we're moving.
Yeah, to have family or friends try it out.
Yeah, and 1-800 is just 1-800.
And especially if you're having people over.
Yeah.
We're
You
in
get
Jer-
a collection, you get everyone tasting the different
Right,
blends,
right.
We're in Jersey,
And
of
they're all
course. We
great
have a couple of
coffee,
places that stuff in Jersey, so
Yeah.
we could work in
We
the
are,
Jersey
we are
connection
very
too.
excited about 1-800 Flowers.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Won't
This is-
mention names,
very
but
happy.
1-800
Yeah,
Flowers.
please,
is
don't
not-
mention any names.
Nobody name names.
It's Little Paulie, Big Paulie, Little Sal, Big
Joe
Sal,
Bag of Donuts.
Joe Bag of Donuts. Every lot of names.
Big budget movies, low budget movies. You have a favorite low budget movie that you weren't in but you saw? Mine would be the one with Danny Aiello in a restaurant in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I know the one, but I can't remember.
About 20 years ago.
Can't remember the name.
Not the
Danny
Lotto?
was-
Is that the Lotto? No, that's
No, he's-
okay.
no, that
okay.
was 29th
The
Street.
29th Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one with the restaurant. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. He was a good friend of mine. We were very close friends.
Terrific guy, you seem
Oh,
like, huh?
a wonderful guy.
But boy,
wonderful guy.
I think that budget for that movie was $1 million.
Yeah, he
And
probably
they-
got 900,000.
Mine's the greatest love story of all time. Minnie and Moskowitz by John Cassavetes.
Yeah, sure.
Some of his
sure.
stuff is really great because it
Well,
was.
Cassavetes is one of
Yeah.
the greatest. But
Minnie and
but
Moskowitz.
Mean Streets, I like Mean Streets.
Can't beat it.
My favorites, because that was actually when I was first coming up.
How about Streetcar?
Streetcar Named Desire, because Tennessee Williams. Yeah, that's a great, great, great film. I mean, and a great piece of writing by.
How about doing it on stage?
On stage, yes.
How was it?
It was great. It was great to play Stanley as a once in a lifetime thing, you know, and to do it in Scandinavia where they really appreciate theater.
Do they? Yeah.
And I've worked with some Italian playwrights also, the translations here, and it seems like theater is very big in Europe, as opposed to here. There's all this commercial stuff on Broadway and everything. Like Danny's going to play off Broadway and stuff. So there's still a community of theater people that really and that really love it and they cherish it. I do cherish it. I'd like to work a little bit more in the theater myself.
The Europeans are trained. They're trained. They're all trained actors. Which is really nice to watch. You watch English productions.
Yes.
And every actor is doing something all the time. They're all trained. You know, somebody with a very small part is working their craft, and they're all craftsmen. And that's a little different than the United States.
Anybody ever do anything on the other side of the camera?
I've done some direct. We both do.
I directed.
Yeah.
I've done some directing too.
Yeah. Very different, huh?
Yeah, it's fun. You know, you have a lot of responsibility.
You don't have to learn lines. That's the best part.
But, you know, there's pressure to it. There's also a lot of pressure.
Different kind of pressure, huh?
Yeah, different kind of getting everything together,
But
and
it's
also
fun because you tell everybody what to do.
Yeah,
and you don't have to learn lines.
Well, I'm here to reveal something to you guys, which is I work on your side of the fence. I've been in one movie.
Okay.
You have to watch very closely. I got a call. This is several years ago. My assistant's name is Patty, and she calls me. I'm on the other side of the building. She says, I got a call here for you from Gary Marshall. I said, Gary Marshall? Wow. She's, the TV movie guy? So I'm making my way back to the office. I'm thinking, which of my friends is going to pull my leg? And so I go back, I take the call, and there's Gary, with his genuine Bronx sound, which you don't have. So after a few minutes, I'm convinced that it is Gary Marshall. He says, I'm doing this movie. It's called Valentine's Day. And a lot of it's set in a flower shop. And he says, Jimmy, I just think it would be really fun if you'd come do this movie. I'd love to have you in the scene. So he convinces me that he's real, and I went and did it, and I had a blast.
Oh, wow.
Because the best part of it was, he said, I get to do these ensemble movies. He also did another one called Mother's Day, which he asked me to be in, but I'm too busy at Mother's Day. So it was a great cast, and I got to hang out with him for 3.5 days. The best part was, he says, I do this great dinner every night. And he gets his big round table in a restaurant, and he has 12, 13, 14 people around the table, and it's just hysterical. So it was like being on vacation and getting to see what another world looks like, get a little peek into your world.
Wow.
And I get these things called residuals. Because he says, you're doing good in the scene, Jim. He said, would you mind if I asked you to do a line? So I said, sure, I'll give it a try. And so I do the lines. And he says, at dinner, he said to me, thank God. He says, that worked. He says, we're going to use that. He said, and thank God you're not in the Screen Actors Guild, he said, because that would have cost me $35,000. I said, Gary, I am in the Screen Actors Guild. He goes, oh, shit. Don't order anything.
Don't order anything. That's a good story, Jim. That's a good story.
But it was so much fun getting to see your world. I could see how it could be intoxicating.
Oh,
you can just surrender to the craft, what you're doing.
Yeah.
How do you get into those parts, and what tricks you use to get there? I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's a lot of different methods of doing it. I mean, in plays, you get a kind of a chronological order of doing things, and it's more like a building up, laddering up. But in film, you have to really be there and really be in
Jason,
the moment.
you got to go shoot a scene, and you got to not work up to it. You got to be at that high level.
Oh,
right away.
exactly. I mean, you got to know where
emotion
you're
has to
coming
be
from,
there.
where you're going. Like, find where you are in the story because, you get plopped right in. Yeah.
And one of the magical things is like when on stage, there's the character, there's the actor, and then there's a person. And when the three of them come together, the character, the actor, and the person.
Yep.
Like the character is in the play, the actor is performing, is creating the character, and the human being is alive, can hear somebody rustling a paper, and when the three of them come together, it doesn't happen that often, but it's magic. It's magic to be on a stage when it's always magic to be on a stage. It just is.
Jason, is there a time when you've done something and you told us a story about how Jim Gandolfini counseled you that if you want to do a retake, you can?
Yeah.
Ever do something, say, oh, I did that just the way I wanted it that time, and then find out they didn't use that tape?
That is a good question. No, I don't remember actually thinking that, although I've always been sort of hard on myself. I don't really watch much of what I do. It kind of drives me. It'd be like listening to your own voice on
watch?
Well, most of the time, yeah. I mean, I did see all the Sopranos stuff because I was a fan of the show before I ever got on it. So I was just invested in the story already. Yeah.
What a kick that had to
Yeah.
be.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, not only was I a big fan, but my whole family was a huge fan.
And when you're watching,
Yeah.
do you watch as a fan, or are you using your professional eye and looking at it differently?
I mean, I would say first and foremost, I watch as a fan. It does make it a little difficult. Well, once you step behind the curtain and I was part of the actual world, you know, knowing that the house wasn't really the house, that it was a set, you know, I mean, things like that, you know, I mean, but no, the show was so brilliantly written that, I mean, it just sucks you in.
You get into it. You
Yeah,
surrender
yeah,
and
yeah,
watch.
exactly. You surrender to it.
I think what happens sometimes is that what you're talking about is that you might be in a scene and then they take the scene out. So where's that
That
scene?
was gold.
Yeah, yeah.
More than the take.
Those are
But
my
it
best
happens
scenes.
from time to time because they can't fit it in, and you know, and so that happens.
Yeah, I did a film called Don't Go in the House back in 1980.
It was a great one.
And the monologue, there was a monologue, and it went out of focus. They went out of focus on the monologue.
And you killed it.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, it was really, and of course it went to the off-camera lines.
Yep.
You know? And so that was an instance where I it really bothered me because I really love that monologue.
But it's weird because when you're watching it, Jim, you don't. I don't get that thrill is when you're doing it, but when you're watching, you kind of like you're
criticism.
You're kind of
So
removed
critical,
from
yeah.
it. You don't
We're
get
so
that
critical,
burn that
yeah.
you have, like Danny's talking about in the theater. You get that kind of feeling. It's just a little bit more removed from, you know.
Especially when you like The Sopranos. I finally, after 20 some odd years, I watched it with my son, or I started to watch it with my 15-year-old son, and he's been wanting to watch
How
it.
do you feel there when the bada bing scene?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it was very hard.
More
to,
how he feels. Yeah,
it was very hard to convince my wife that it was a hard day's work.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
I don't even look.
But being so removed from it now for all these years, I can watch it. I can even see my character in a different light and go, oh, okay, like this is sort of what's happening to him around him.
And you'll look at
the
your eyes
circumstances.
saying, I should have been different there.
Well, it's like, closer to when we shot it, I definitely was, I was going for this, or this landed the way I wanted to. Maybe this didn't come across the way I wanted to. Whereas now, I don't remember what I was going for anymore, or what. I'm just sort of watching the circumstances unfold and seeing this kid.
So how did your 15-year-old respond to seeing
He
you on
actually,
camera?
he really likes it. Seeing me.
Yeah.
You have to ask him. I think he got used to it fairly quickly. His whole life, it's been people sort of stopping and wanting to talk to me about it, and it was like this, thing, Jackie Jr., like this, oh, Dad, Jackie Jr., they're saying Jackie Jr., and it's like, they never quite understood even what that meant. There's no context for, and so now, my son, has a little bit of an understanding of the show, and really, I have to say the show holds up. I mean, cell phones are completely different. They were a flip, there's a lot of things that you think maybe could take you out, but it holds up.
Well, one of the funny
loves
things
it.
about kids, I have two sons, they're older, but I remember back in the day, I did a couple of Spike Lee movies, and
Which ones?
don't ask me, I can't remember.
So go ahead. You're in Spike Lee.
Yeah, so my son, I took my youngest son, who became an actor for about 8 years. My son James, I took him to the premiere and the party, and he when he got home, he said to his brother, he said, Daddy really knows these people. It's not like he really knows these celebrities, because it's just not.
It's
their
isolated world, yeah.
Yeah, you're their father or you're their friend or whatever, but it's a different world.
Yeah.
And when they see that, wait, he really knows them, and it's like, and when people recognize you, another thing, and
So speaking of recognizing you, I watched an interview with James Gandolfini, and he told of an incident where people don't separate fiction from reality.
oh.
And he said he gets out of there's a little scene going on, a little beef going on in the street, and he's getting out of a Suburban to go into a restaurant in Manhattan. And he steps out, and he said the fight stopped because they wanted to pay respects to his character. Now, when people approach you, like he was saying with your son, are people able to separate that it's all right to go for a ride with you in a car, that you're not going to stop in a remote spot, Danny?
I wouldn't.
Well, I was. I'm not invited to many pools.
Right.
There are fringe benefits.
No one's offering you a Snapple.
No. I mean, there are fringe benefits, to it. You walk into I was in Dick's. I'm naming names again. I got a pair of boxing gloves for a friend, and they were marked down to a low price, and when I got to the counter, it was more money than I expected, and the manager, who I asked where the boxing section was just hanging up front, and he said, "What's?" I gave him back. Said, "No, I really don't want to buy it. There's too much." The manager came up to me. Kenny came up to me. He said, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? What happened?" I said, "Well, it was a marked down." I said, "Don't worry about it. I got it. And by the way, you were great on The Sopranos." So they gave me for the reduced price. So there were a lot of stuff like that. We call it the swag, a little pseudo swag.
So ideas and suggestions how people can gift this, enjoy your product, Omerta, the coffee, the cigars, the other products you're coming out with.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Throw a Sopranos watching party.
There you go. Now you're talking.
That's a good idea.
Now you're talking.
Shop Omerta.com, and we have a
Mother's Day discount, Valentine's Day discount, Martin Luther King Day discount. We have a lot of discounts.
Yeah, shop Omerta.com, and
that's right. Or 1-800-Flowers now.
1-800-Flowers.
Which, speaking of discount, I send a lot of flowers out. So I'm gonna. Where's my discount code? Okay.
Nothing.
Well, we're so happy to be working with you.
Thank
to get
you.
to spend time with you guys. I especially like the rapport between you guys, the relationship, and how you think about relationships. You're deliberate about it. And in your own individual worlds and your collective worlds here in business, I can see what motivates you guys and why the people from Omerta Coffee were so happy to partner with you.
Thank you.
thank you.
And I hope we get to do a bunch of these again in the future.
Let's go.
Sounds good.
We love being
Rock and
part
roll.
of
Thank you.
Omerta, baby.
Thank you, Jim.
Jim,
We
thank you
love
so
being
much.
part of 1-800-Flowers.
Thanks, Dan.
Very much.
Thanks, guys.
Go to 1-800-Flowers.com.
Find the perfect gift.
And wow the people you love.
Wow. This is amazing.
Whether you want to say happy birthday.
So cute.
Or I love you.
I love you too.
Thinking of you.
Wow.
Go to 1-800-Flowers.com.
Celebrate the people you love.
Well, I hope you enjoyed what you heard, and I know I'll be sharing it forward. I hope you get to as well. Let's keep the conversation going. Follow me along on Twitter at Jim1800Flowers and on LinkedIn at Jim McCann. Hope to talk to you soon.